Yes. You just have my favorites.
What's your favorite? Like color left on here.
I wear a lot of. I've been told by people who know more about this. Winter colors. Okay. Yeah. So I wear a lot of blue. But then after blue, it's interesting because actually recently the house has like expanded it. If you open up my drawer, I've got like a pretty good rainbow. But definitely lots of blues, browns. What's that?
Symbol. here in the cold weather through the slush and all the salt that our sexton Dan has been laying out on the streets to keep us safe. He has been the hero of the month. It is incredible. Welcome, whether you are here online or in person now or in the future. I am the intern minister of this church. I'm Mac Perkins High, and with me today is Erica Shadowsong, our director of Lifespan Religious Education. She is the mastermind behind the service that you will be experiencing today. Reverend Dr. Walker is off and will be returning to us shortly. If you haven't gotten a chance to connect with us yet, check out the website or head down to the Undercroft after service, where there'll be a lot of wonderful people and a lot of wonderful coffee. And for those of you with visual disabilities, I am about 6 feet tall, I am light-skinned, I'm wearing long blonde hair in a braid, and today I am in a patterned stole, which is mostly green, but with splashes of red, orange, and other colors. Thank you again for joining us. Whoever you are, whoever you love, however you came to be here, you are welcome. We are one people of many faiths, bound together by a shared covenant. At this time, I'm going to invite us to turn our attention to our chalice for the chalice lighting. The chalice is the symbol of our faith, and today we gather in the name of our ancestors, both spiritually and lineagely, of those who have brought us here together and whose hopes and glories we represent in this time. Please now stand as you're able as Chris Rust, our director of vocal music, introduces our first hymn.
So guide my feet while I run this race. This is not a song just for runners and walkers. It's not really about the Pittsburgh Marathon. It is about the journey that every person takes through life, regardless of our abilities. So please find the words in your order of service and let us sing together. Guide my feet while I run this race.
Please be seated. Some announcements about our beloved community. The first is that there will be a chili cook-off upcoming on January 25th. So if you believe that you have the best Unitarian Universalist chili, you need to represent those claims and show the people that you do. There will be a new time for this, so if you had the previous time in your brain, get rid of it. The new time is 5 p.m. The chili cook-off and adult board game night will go from 5 to 7:15. And after that, there's going to be song space up here in the sanctuary with Chrissy Strong and Morgan Arena. It will be a wonderful night to warm your belly and your soul. I also have an announcement about VIM. That is our Values, Identity, and Mission Committee. The snow is falling, which means it is time to meet with them in a warm conversation as part of the annual listening circles. Please sign up during social hour to engage in self-reflection about the church and where we might end up. There will be a table down there after service for doing the sign-ups. And finally, if you're a young adult, join Erica after service for a great time being young adults together. I now invite up Erica to start telling us about the service.
Today we are celebrating in the spirit of Kwanzaa, an African-American cultural holiday that coincides with harvest festivals of the winter solstice in areas of Africa during the wet season, what to us is cold season. Kwanzaa, which means first fruits, invites us into a time of meditation and appreciation of African values and wisdom, and seeking how we may learn from them to address the unique challenges of opportunities of the present, wherever Pan-Africans are living. I invite you to take a deep breath. Arrive in body and spirit, and picture your connection to all others who are watching today and in the future. At this time, I invite Mac to light the black candle in the center of the Kanara. This candle is for the principle of umoja, which means unity. To strive for and maintain unity in the family, community, nation, and race. Unity is the fundamental principle of Kwanzaa.
Today, for our collective reading, we will be doing our grounding, which should be familiar to you. The words are found in your order of service. Please join your voices with mine. We name our collective recommitment to care for the earth, knowing the ground we live upon is sacred. We pledge to bring new life to the earth, new life to the air, new life to the waters, new life to each other, for all life is sacred.
At this time, we will light the second candle, which is the green one next to the black. This candle is for the principle of kujikagulia, which means self-determination.
I have a story for the young people in the audience. So if you are young or young at heart, please join me up on stage. Erica has bought this beautiful book, which I will be reading from and showing the pictures from. So if you would like to see the pictures, I recommend coming up to the front. I'm testing weather. Okay, nice. How are you guys today? Could be better. I can hang out with you. That's as good as it gets for me. They told me to tell you they believed you when you said you would take a stand. They thought that you knew the ways of nature. They thought you respected the land. They want you to know that they trusted you with the earth, the water, the air, with the eagle, the hawk, and the raven, the salmon, the whale, and the bear. I'll show them to you guys too. This is what this picture looks like. It's very beautiful. You promised you'd care for the cedar and fir, the mountains, the sea, and the sky. To the elders, these things are the essence of life. Without them, a people will die. They told me to tell you the time has come. They want you to know how they feel. So listen carefully, look toward the sun. The elders are watching. They wonder about risking the salted waters, the ebb and flow of running tide. You seem to be making mistakes almost daily. They're angry, they're hurting, they cry. Sad salmon in this picture. The only foe the huge forest fears is man, not fire nor pest. There are but a few who've come to know, to appreciate nature's best. They watch as you dig the ore from the ground. You've gone much too deep in the earth. The pits and scars are not part of the dream, for their home, for the place of their birth. They told me to tell you the time has come. They want you to know how they feel. So listen carefully, look towards the sun. The elders are watching. They say you hunt for the thrill of the kill, first the buffalo, now the bear, and that you just know how few there are left, and yet you don't seem to care. Sorry, Eric. They have no problem with fishing for sport. There are lots of fish in the sea. It is for the few who will waste a catch. For you, they are speaking through me. You said you needed the tree for its pulp. You'd take but a few, you're aware, of the home of the deer, the wolf, the fox, yet so much of their land now stands bare. They told me to tell you the time has come. They want you to know how they feel. So listen carefully, look toward the sun. The elders are watching. But with every new moon, you seem to be more concerned with your wealth than the few women and children, their bloodline, their heartbeat, who are now so dependent on you. You are offering to give back bits and pieces of the land they know to be theirs. Don't think they're not grateful. It's just hard to say so when wondering how much you care. They told me to tell you the time has come. They want you to know how they feel. So listen carefully, look towards the sun. The elders are watching. The color green has come back to the land. It's for people who feel like me, for people who treasure what nature gives, for those who help others see. And there are those whose actions show they see the way things could be. They do what they can, give all that they have, just to save one ancient tree. They told me to tell you the time has come. They want you to know how they feel. So listen carefully, look toward the sun. The elders are watching. Of all the things that you've done well, the things that are growing to love, it's the site of your home, the town that you've built. They can see it from far up above. Like the sun when it shines, like the full moon at night, like 100 totems tall, it has brightened their sky, and that's partially why they've sent me to you with their call. Now I've said all the things that I told them I would. I hope I am doing my share. If the beauty around us is to live through this day, we'd better start watching and care. They told me to tell you the time is now. They want you to know how they feel. So listen carefully. Look toward the sun. The elders are watching. And that's the story.
Thank you. You guys can go back and have a seat. You're staying with us today. Thank you, Mac. At this time, we would like to light the third candle. This is the red candle on the other side of the black. This candle is for the principle of Ujima, for collective work and responsibility. This means to build and maintain our community together and make our brothers and sisters' problems our problems and solve them together.
Every month we have a Share the Plate partner. As we pass around the little donation trays, half of the money will go to the operating budget of our church, and half will go to an organization that we think does really important work in the world. Today we have Sierra Parm with us, who I'll invite to stage in just a moment to tell you about her work. She began at the Pittsburgh A. Philip Randolph Institute as a workforce generalist, and is now the operations director for the Breaking the Chains of Poverty pre-apprenticeship program, which is our partner this month. Her work has resulted in the program gaining Pennsylvania state designation, positively impacting many lives. In her spare time, Sierra is a dedicated volunteer with the Enright Court Neighbors Committee, shaping initiatives like the Enright Court Neighborhood Plan and the Enright Court National Night Out. She also serves as a board member with the Village Collaborative of East Liberty, the unit president for the USW Local 1324-25, and as an Allegheny County Democratic Committee woman. She lives in East Liberty with her beloved cat, Sylvester. Please come to the stage.
Good morning. First, let me take a moment and show some gratitude to Stuart Hastings for inviting me here today and allowing me to show and share with you the great work that we're doing at Pittsburgh A. Philip Randolph Institute. The National A. Philip Randolph Institute was founded in 1965 by leaders in the fight for justice and equity, Asa Philip Randolph and Bayard Rustin. Randolph, who was the first Black labor union recognized, I'm sorry, I'm usually in the background, so I usually don't do the public speaking part. So you'll have to forgive me and give me a little grace. Randolph, who organized the first Black labor union recognized by the AFL-CIO, the Brotherhood of Sleeping Car Porters, worked with Rustin, a brilliant strategist and openly gay activist, to orchestrate the 1963 March on Washington for Jobs and for Justice. And here in Pittsburgh, our chapter has carried on the torch since 1968. We are committed to fighting for social progress for minorities, the poor and working families, and for those the system has too often left behind. We develop programs and extend democracy, education, and opportunity to those who have been told that their voice doesn't matter. At the heart of our work is the Breaking the Chains of Poverty program, a apprenticeship program that not just a training program, but a lifeline. Over 8 weeks, we equip individuals with the skills they need to secure family-sustaining careers in the building and construction trades, manufacturing, and emerging energy sector. 80% of the individuals who graduate from our program will have a family-sustaining career within 6 months of that graduation date. But BTCP is more than just jobs. It's about hope. It's about giving people the tools to rebuild their lives, to rewrite their stories, and to dream big once again. We don't just help individuals, we help families, we help neighborhoods, and we help communities rise together. We do this one person, one career at a time. Now let me be real with you. We practice tough love at APRI. We expect accountability because empowerment is not just about encouragement, it is about responsibility. If someone shows up and they're ready to do the work, we stand behind them 100%. But they have to show up, and when they do, they have a bright future and a bright career ahead of them. So why does all of this matter? Because we know when we lift people out of poverty, that we see the ripple effects in our communities. We see more home ownership. We see higher educational outcomes. We see greater family bonds and more voter participation. So, Breaking the Chains of Poverty is not just a program, it's a movement. So I ask you today, will you join us? Will you help us transform lives and empower communities? Because when we invest in people, we know the return is a future brighter than we could ever imagine. Thank you.
I invite our ushers to please come forward.
are given the food that makes us so strong, restoring the balance for all of creation. Come build a love where all will belong. Oh, come build a love, come gather together, anointed by God, then create peace, where justice shall flow down like the water, and peace, peace like an ever-flowing stream.
Build a love where cries of praises resounds from spirits once faint and once weak, where like oaks of righteousness stand her people. Come build a love, my people, receive.
Oh, come build a love, come gather together, anointed by God, then create peace, where justice shall flow down like the water, and peace, peace like an ever-flowing stream. Hallelujah, hallelujah, peace flows down. 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 Hallelujah,
Peace flows now. At this time, let us light the fourth candle, the second green one, from the middle. This candle is for the principle of Ujamaa, cooperative economics. This means to build and maintain our own stores, shops, and other businesses, and to profit from them together. And for all of us, it means to support those communities that are around us that could use our support the most.
During the offertory, some people came forward and lit candles of joy and sorrow, or dropped rocks in the water to hold their joy and sorrow. But not everyone did so I just want to acknowledge that there are joys and sorrows in the room too tender yet to share. I invite you now into a few moments of meditation, silence, or prayer. Feel yourself arrive. Winter is a season of togetherness, and it is also a season of cold and pain, and so it is in the world right now. People who we love are suffering, whether we know them or not, and we are also together in that suffering, in that joy. We hold each other in community, and it is our duty to hold each other in community, those we know, those we don't know, to make it through this time together, and to do so with joy.
Let us light the 5th candle, which is the second red one on the right. My words are missing, so if you know what it's called,
Nia.
Just say it. Nia, thank you, that's purpose. Thank you very much.
While we are lighting the candles of community, I'd like to let you know that next weekend we're going to continue the celebration of community over the Martin Luther King holiday. And we have a big concert on Monday, Martin Luther King Day, January 20th. The Let Freedom Sing concert will be taking place in East Liberty. This church has always been a big supporter and driver behind this concert. It's a wonderful celebration of community, and I hope that you can all come or tune in online. LetFreedomSing.net is where you can find information about it. And now I invite you to lift your voices as we reflect, and please rise in body and spirit. The words are in your order of service for our next song. This is a less familiar one to most of us, and so we're going to work on learning it together. This is a song for congregation, you, and for the choir. So parts of it will just be sung by the choir, but when I point to you, it's your turn. So the first part that you need to learn, please learn these words, say these words in this rhythm after me. For each child that's born, a morning star rises. Go. For each child that's born, a morning star rises. And sings to the universe. And sings to the universe. Good, yeah, that rhythm of the language has a real lilt to it. And sings to the universe. And sings to the universe. Who we are. Who we are. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who do it again. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. Excellent. So that part will come back at the end. The second part, we are our grandmother's prayers. Go. We are our grandmother's prayers. Yes, and make this your prayer. These words, they really mean something. And we are our grandfather's dreamings. And we are our grandfather's dreamings. We are the breath of our ancestors. We are the Spirit of God. We are the breath of our ancestors. We are the Spirit of God. Let's do this whole section. We are our grandmother's prayers. And we are our grandmother's prayers. And we are our grandfather's dreamings. We are the breath of our ancestors. We are the Spirit of God.
We are mothers of courage and fathers of time. We are cousins of dust and ones of great visions. We're sisters
and keepers of faith. We are makers of peace and the wisdom of ages. We are our grandmother's prayers, and we are our grandfather's dreamings. We are the breath of our ancestors. We are the Spirit of God. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. Thank you. You may be seated.
And now we light the sixth candle. This candle is for the principle of Kuumba, for creativity. To do always as much as we can, in the way we can, in order to leave our community more beautiful and beneficial than we inherited it. I've been waiting about half a year to give this message. Last year, I don't remember which service, but some of you might, I told a creation story from West African tradition, and it featured a character called Nana Buruku, also called Nana Buruku. She was a new goddess to me. She's described as an old woman with dark skin. Her arms are held open wide, holding in her arms the entire universe. She's the creator of the universe, and her eyes are half closed, and it is said that you can kind of see the stars peeking out under her lids. She holds all of the wisdom behind those eyes, and we can't see all of it, so much of it is a mystery. She is mostly pictured wearing purple, and I have seen her head wrapped. She is wrinkled, but beautiful and strong, and she reminds me of my grandmother, and she reminds me of something else. When I read and told that story last year, I had this distinctly memorable feeling right here on this pulpit. I had this feeling, this thought that said, I recognize you. I remember you. It's as if I felt the connection to the God that I once believed in when I was a little kid as a Christian. And it was the first time I had really come across a feminine divine figure in the African diasporic traditions that seemed on the same scale of the creator monotheistic God that I had been taught to be in relationship with. My encounter with Nana Buruku was more than discovering something new. Instead, it felt like remembering something old, and it got me thinking about grandmothers and elders and why relationships with our elders are so particularly special, especially in our families. We have elders in this community here. What does it say to have a grandmother figure representing the divine? When I go back and I think about my memories with my own grandmother, the image that comes to my mind is my head on her knee, with her stroking my hair, maybe humming or singing. I don't actually even know if this is a real memory. It probably happened more than once, but for some reason that's what's called up, and it's not a specific memory. I remember gray and silver hair. I remember her old-fashioned skirts and how never a hair was out of place on her head. I remember that she always had a Bible somewhere nearby, and when the house smelled of food, the memory that comes to mind is the smell of pork chops and Spanish rice. And I remember the smell of her skin, which I can't actually describe, but I'm sure you can relate to remembering the smell of the skin of a caregiver. I thought about how that feeling with my grandmother, what that means to me. It means first and foremost safety, the safety of continuity, because she was just always there. She was always there in the home with me, wherever I was, if my parents were there or not, but she was there. So I was never alone. And then having a mother of my mother made me feel connected to something longer, although I couldn't have described this as a child. A larger sense of a family that came before me that I could never remember and never meet, but was there in the room with me in my grandmother. The deepest feeling of home I've ever had. Sometimes today as an adult, I get a similar feeling when I look up at the night sky, whenever I look at the stars winking or pulsing, or the bright planets. What I see is the fixed heavens. And they're not actually fixed, they move, but very slowly. And this is important, very regularly. And no matter where I am and what I am doing, what I think is important. When I look at the night sky, it feels like the universe around me is fixed and set and continuous and safe. I wonder, what if the search for the sacred, for the divine, for wisdom when we need it, is not actually a search, but instead remembering? I wonder if you can remember a time in nature, could even have been right before you walked into this building today, and it made you feel grounded somehow, maybe even loved. If you run your hands over the grass, which you can't do right now because it's very cold outside, but you can remember doing that. Does it feel like holding a hand? Does it feel like the earth is reaching for you? Put your fingers into the dirt. If you touch a tree bark, does it feel like the tree is also reaching to you? And I wonder if we are constantly reaching to each other, ourselves, and the universe. And Nana Buruku is all of our grandmothers. And in her is all of the wisdom that we need. We are never without that wisdom. We're never without that guidance. It's always there. It's a part of us. It is within us, and it is also all around us. Perhaps we can gain that wisdom by approaching, seeking it with the idea of remembering something that we already know. Remembering in particular a feeling, whatever that feeling is that makes you feel grounded and right and in sync and interconnected with all. I was really surprised at how profound that feeling was simply by reading a creation story that I didn't know very well and with a figure that I wasn't very familiar with, and I'm still not very familiar with. Certainly not like somebody who had been brought up in that tradition. And yet I feel like I know her. I remember her. And I feel like I can do that because I'm able to remember being a child and what it felt like to be at my grandmother's knee. I think those feelings, whenever we have them, of safety, of care, of being loved, of something being continuous beyond ourselves, I think those feelings can lead us directly into remembering that we are connected with all of the wisdom in the universe. And as we reach for it, it reaches for us. And it is always doing so, always holding us in the great expanse of its arms. My idea behind this service was to honor the elders in our community and in our lives. I honor and thank you, elders in this community. I hope that you think of yourselves as elders, as grandmothers and grandfathers. And I invite all of the rest of us to also think of our elders in our community and the wisdom that they carry with them, much of which we will never see or never know, but is still in the room with us. Thank you. I invite Mac, no, actually I have a volunteer now. I invite Greg Andrews, who agreed to light the 7th and final candle for us. This candle is for the principle of Imani, faith, to believe with all of our heart in our people, our parents, our teachers, our leaders, ourselves, and the righteousness and victory of our struggles.
And as we transition, as we light this final candle and transition to our last song together, I invite us all to contemplate the candle, the chalice, these flames that we light as a way to remind us of our community and of those who've come before us in this community. As Erica said, our ancestors. We use flame on our joys and sorrows table. We use water on a joys and sorrows table. Think of other places where flame is reminiscent of who we are and where we've come from, the hearth in the home, the ocean, the water, the sound of the waves. And I invite you to call these sounds of fire and water to your imagination. Can you say and create this sound with me? Whoosh, whoosh, ah, whoosh, whoosh, zah. Yes, would you please stand and look at the words in your order of service, and let's sing together, breaths. Listen more often to things than to beings. Listen more often to things than to beings. 'Tis the ancestors' breath when the fire's voice is heard. 'Tis the ancestors' breath in the voice of the waters. Zah, whoosh, ah, whoosh.
Those who have died have never left. The dead are not under the earth. They are in the rustling trees. They are in the growing woods. They are in the crying grass. They are in the moaning rocks. The dead are not under the earth.
So listen more often to things than to beings. Listen more often to things than to beings. 'Tis the ancestors' breath when the fire's voice is heard. 'Tis the ancestors' breath in the voice of the waters. Zah, whoosh, ah, whoosh.
Those who have died have never left. The dead have a pact with the living. They are in the woman's breast. They are in the wailing child. They are with us in our homes. They are with us in this crowd. The dead have a pact with the living.
So listen more often to things than to beings. Listen more often to things than to beings. 'Tis the ancestors' breath when the fire's voice is heard. 'Tis the ancestors' breath in the voice of the waters. Ah, whoosh, ah, whoosh, zah, whoosh. Zah, whoosh, zah, whoosh, zah, whoosh.
As we come to the close of our service, I have one particular elder to honor who I forgot in the joys and sorrows earlier. So I would like everyone to know that on January 9th, our own Jen Mann turned 95 years old. I now invite you to join your voices with mine for extinguishing the chalice flame. The words are found in our order of service as well as our hearts. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Beloved, as we go forth, hold on to the fact that you are your grandmother's prayers and your grandfather's dreamings, and know that your prayers and dreamings are alive in this world right now. We are part of a lineage that goes unbroken to the dawn of time, and this lineage will continue on this earth, whether in the shape of humans or anyone else, and it is our joy to be here in this time. Thank you.
Choir, thank you very, very much. Wonderful. Rehearsal Wednesdays at 10 o'clock. There's an optional